All right, we lying.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment and captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the actor of his own ends. I'm ripping my team, ripping like a green queen, king, I'm free,
All right. What else to say? All right. Y'all give me just a second, and we'll start the show. Hey, y'all, help share the show real quick. Y'all don't mind. We'll jump right into it. Ain't gonna keep y'all too long. Share to the groups. Damn, I didn't mean to put in that. Oh well. Uh, Bear with me one more minute, y'all. Well, 60 seconds. We'll get into it. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. First I want to say ETM Hotel, Dua Duau, Dua Aku, Dua Netcher, Fatmu Alafiye, Fatmu Wiwi, Majuba Iba E Gungun, Majuba Iba E Gungun, Majuba Iba E Lakba, Majuba Iba E Lakba, Egungun Kiki, Egungun. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to give uh, honors and respect to the true and living elders out there. They know who they are according to African tradition. I also want to give a honors and respect to the ancestor who has passed, whose work I value a lot, and you see in a lot of my presentations, John and BT, and I use some of his information also. I cited some of his information also for this presentation. I got Brother Sutek on the panel. I got Brother Vasa Nicolo Gullah on the panel. And Brother Sutek, when you say something, man, pronounce your whole name right. I don't never say the whole name right because I know I probably gonna tear it up, man. But y'all got anything, man, before we get started? Y'all in the on the chat, please like the show. Please share the show with those that you think that may be interested in this information.
Yeah, it's Sutek Akande Iyanu Oluwa. But
Yeah.
yeah, peace to everybody, man. Peace to the chat. Like the show and share the show on your way in. Take your notepads out. You ready to learn something? This should be interesting. I've been waiting on it.
Peace, everybody. Y'all put some smiles on. Like and share the show. Peace to the future audience. And I'm interested to see where this presentation is going to go. So, peace, everybody.
All right. Let me put this over here. We gonna go on and get started. Let me share my screen again. All right. All right. Today's presentation is called Africa's Oral Traditions. Um, I kind of touched on this in the traditions when I did a presentation on the griots and the griots in Africa. I'm gonna touch on the griots a little bit, especially when you're dealing with West Africa. You can't, when you're talking about oral traditions, you can't exclude the griots. So some of the information you might have heard, some of it, a little bit of the information on the griots and griot's presentation. If you hadn't looked at that, go back in the archives. I think it's on Kofi Piesie TV or it's on Mossi Warrior Clan channel. I think it's on this channel as well. Go check it out. It was a nice presentation. We also had Asar Mka, who called someone from West Africa after the presentation or before the presentation, and he seen some of it and he verified what I was saying was actually accurate. So I was on the right track when I presented information on the griots and the griotas. But again, this presentation is called African Oral Tradition by myself, Kofi Piesie. All right, I always have to put a disclaimer out here before I get started. I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. Let me, because I don't know if is it showing like my face is in front of the presentation? Because I got my camera still open. I might need to close my camera. I'm gonna close it. Anyway, all right. Disclaimer: I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. That information is provided for the on educational purpose only. And if you are in doubt, do the research and have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation, to shut down, sell, or exchange the terms or use at my own discretion. All trademark, design rights, copyrights, registered names, mottos, logos, avatars, the signals, or mark used or cited by this website or the property of respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, additions, deletions are encouraged. As I learn, we all learn. Everybody that follow me, been following me for the last 3 years. This is my statement. As I learn, we all learn, I believe. And this statement, I believe this is a powerful statement. And I continue to try to do this on every week basis. As I learn things, I share those things that I learn, and hopefully someone else can learn from the things that I have learned through research. Let's get this culture. It's another saying I started 2019, I think last year. Dang, that's been a whole year that went by. Let's get this culture. We as Kofi Piesie TV family and affiliates, Mossi Warrior Clan, and Seshew Netcher, we trying to bring you the culture. I know a lot of us um, don't know a lot about our culture, so we trying to bring you as much uh, of our culture as possible. What is oral tradition? Oral tradition are messages that are transmitted orally from one generation to another. The messages may be passed down through speech or songs and may take from forms of folk tales, fables, epics, histories, and narration. Proverbs of sayings and songs. Oral tradition make it possible for a society to pass knowledge across generations without writing. They help people make sense of the world and are used to teach children and adults important aspects of their culture. Nomo. Before we go any further, I want to talk about the Nomo real quick. For those, um, this is something from the Dogon tribe. I can't even believe I hadn't did none in the last 3 years since I've been presenting anything on the Dogo tribe. I done mentioned them a few times. I hadn't just sat down and did a whole presentation on the Dogon tribe. From Mali. I might do that. But anyway, Nomo. I'm using this before we go any further. Nomo. In West Africa, the Dogon people of Mali believe that the African concept of Nomo, the power of the spoken word, carries an energy that produces all life and influence everything from destiny to the naming of children. By human utterance and through the spoken words, human beings can invoke a kind of spiritual power. Nomo, the generative power of the spoken word, is the force that gives life to everything. It is the presence, it presents everywhere, and it brings into existence all that is seen and the unseen. Furthermore, the Dogon believe that humans have power over the word, over the word, and thereby can direct the life force. All human creations and nature phenomena innated from the productive power of the word, that is the nomo, which is a light force. So the nomo, spoken or power of spoken words, and we all say that words have power, and we can bring things into existence or into life by words. um like naming things, we bring things into existence by naming things. When you look at the African traditions of naming, a a child that has been born does not exist uh until it has its name. um but yeah, it's power. They believe that it's power in words, and words can bring things into life, and words can bring things into existence. The oral tradition, also termed oral literature or orature, refers to a wide body of oral discourse encompassing every subject and every type of expression created by a people. The oral tradition is an art form that can be analyzed in accordance with an approved and recognized set of traditional standards. The nature of African oral tradition is drawn from African belief systems and traditions. Consequently, African orators conform to a specific African style of speech making. The oral tradition is a complex corpus of verbal and spoken arts created for the purpose of remembering the past based on people, ideals, beliefs, systems, assumptions, attitudes, and sentiments. Remember that oral traditions is the complex corpus of verbal or spoken art created for the purpose of remembering the past based on people's ideals, beliefs, symbols, assumptions, attitudes, and sentiments. And you will see why I said this when we get further into the presentation. There are three main categories of orators or oral history. You have literature, you have historically, and you have erodite. And I'll give the definition of erodite for those that may not know: having or showing knowledge that is gaining by studying, the process of display. Hold on. Someone else, let me see. Y'all let me know if somebody else pop up on the panel. All right, but again, the three main categories of orature or oral history is literature. It's broken into three parts: literature, historically, and eroded. And again, eroded is having or showing knowledge that is gained by studying, the process of displaying. I got this from just Merriam-Webster dictionary. Literature includes poetry, genres, poetic genres, divination poems, and songs. It also includes proverbs, parables, and incantation. So the first part of the first category in oral history again is literature, and it includes poetic uh, genres, divination poems, songs, and it also includes proverbs, parables, and incantations. So remember that. The historically includes narratives based on myths, legends, historical plays, and epics. As for the erotic category, it encompasses secret formulas, prayers, and a corpus of an esoteric nature. So again, these are the three categories that our oral tradition is broken to: literature, historically, and erotic. All right. The poet serves many functions in a traditional African society. So we know with the first category, the category it has poetic gestures, divination poems, songs. It also includes proverbs, parables, incantations. Remember, this is part we're talking now. We're going to go into those different categories. First category is literature. And literature again is broke up into poetic gestures, divination poems, songs, proverbs, parables, and incantations. A poet, the poet serves many functions in traditional African societies. The griots or court poets for the Mandinkas of West Africa was charged with not only singing the ruling praise, but also documenting through song historical events surrounding the royals and ruling family. So the griots also documented things through songs, documented through songs historically events surrounding the royal and ruling families. So they documented things for the royal family. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. He is also a linguist or spoken for the king. The Umuzi of the Rwanda in Central Africa, Ibonji in the Zulu in Southern Africa, and the poet of other ethnic groups all serve as the same purpose. Griots. Again, when we talking about oral history, storytelling, um, people who are historians, people who keep up with history and the culture, people that know everything that goes on uh, in the community, past and present. We got to talk about the griots. And again, I'm just going to mention the griots real quick. And for full details on the griots, you can go to my griot and griotis presentation. But what do the griots do? They are poets, historians, advisors, spokespersons, diplomats, peacemakers, praise slash singers, interpretation, translators, musicians, composers, teachers, warriors, and witnesses. Yes, griots are warriors. I talk about that in that griot and griotis presentation. Um, Griots are historians, praise singers, and musicians, entertainers. They are guardians of the knowledge of their people, ancestrals, and genealogy. As history may never been written down, the griots is crucially to keep records of the past. Griots are entrusted with the memorization, recitation, and the passing of the cultural tradition from one generation to the next. So we show a lot of the roles. I'm gonna show you some more roles of the griots. The griots have many roles. You know, one of their important roles uh, is they are historians. They keep up with all the uh, records and documentation. They memorize and recite a lot of those things, and they pass these things down from one generation to the next. And it's a lot that goes in to become a griot. And again, check out that presentation because I show you how you can become a griot. Um, and what it entails in order to be a griot or a griotis. A griotis is the female griot. The griot is called upon at important events during which it recounts the family genealogical playing his choral or other musical instruments such as the balafon during these ceremonies, and youngest griots acquires new knowledge. So they are also musicians. The griots are also musicians. This thing that you see here is the quarter. This is one of the main instruments that they play on a lot of the griots. You'll see them with this instrument here, the kora. They also play the balafon, and it's another thing, the ngoni. Looks like a small lit guitar or something, but a lot of times you'll see them with this main instruments, and they also assimilate information um, from the past through music as well. There's more than one way uh, to tell a story or to present historical information or educational information on the society. More roles of the griots, more roles in the griots, and we're gonna move from the griots. But again, I cannot mention, especially when we're talking about West Africa. But I gave you some names of some other places as well, a few that could be griots, those who are important in the society, those who educate, those who keep all records, those who know about the past and the present. But uniques in Western Africa, the griots or the Jele professional encompass many roles. The griots, pronounced griots, have been referred to as the historians or storytellers, but there are no real words in English language that includes all the functions that traditional griots could do, everything from recounting history to composing music, teaching students to acting as diplomats. They are geologists, historians, spokespeople, ambassadors, musicians, teachers, warriors, interpreters, praise singers, masters of ceremonies, advisors, negotiations, mediators. Not every griot does all of these things, but they are all examples of the functions of the griot possession. So the griots possess all those three categories that oral tradition is broke down into: literature, historically, and erotics. All of those three categories these griots exemplify. Storytelling. There is a rich traditions throughout African oral storytelling. Although written history exists in centuries of West Africa, most written was in Arabic, and the majority of the people did not read or write in Arabic. So the transmission of knowledge, history, and experience in West Africa was mainly through the oral traditions and performed rather than on written text. Oral tradition, and you can see that there is not a lot of writing um in West Africa. Like you look at Kemet, they left a lot of documentation. They wrote on everything. They wrote on uh everything. They wrote on the pyramids, they wrote on the mastabas, they wrote on the coffins, they wrote in the temples, they wrote on the floor, they wrote on everything, they documented everything. Nubia, the same way they documented, even though we hadn't really it hadn't translated the mineral text, the Meroitic text. But they in West Africa, there's not a lot of documentation, and a lot of things that you start to see that come way later in the writing you see from Arabic sources, and you see from missionaries coming in, you see from anthropologists, paleontologists that may have came and lived in a particular region for a particular time. So they began to write about the things that they see in Africa, dealing with a lot of these different ethnic groups with their traditions, their societies, their secret societies, their ceremonies, their rituals, uh, and so forth. Oral tradition or guided social and human morals. Oral tradition guides social and human morals, giving people a sense of place and purpose. There are often a lessons or values of instill and transmission and wisdom, and children is a community responsibility. I'll read that again. Oral traditions guide social and human morals, giving people a sense of place and purpose. There is often a lesson of values to instill, and the transmission of wisdom to children is a community responsibility. Parents, grandparents, and relatives takes part in the process of passing down knowledge of the culture and history. Storytelling provides entertainment, development, the imagination, and the teaching important lessons about the everyday life. Every story, every storyteller tools are not just words, but gestures, singing, facial expressions, body movements, acting, and making stories, memorials, and interesting. So even passing down uh history of um of the community, passing down um day-to-day events that may have happened, um passing down morals, ethics, and edicts. It is not only just displayed and just sitting there um and and reciting or telling it. You know, it is many aspects that they use into telling history. I did a presentation called "Is Masquerades the First Performance Arts?" And I'm doing that because when you look at, and I broke down what is a masquerade, I broke down what is performance arts, and I went through some of the masquerades in Africa. This was maybe about 2 years ago, and I went back and looked at it. I could have did a little bit better, but I think I did a quite good job for someone to use it as a dissertation in the college. They used that presentation as one of their dissertations about masquerades in Africa. But anyway, um, dealing with a lot of the different masquerades and stuff, or you study African culture, they did performance arts. You know, they got, like, we know people get on stage and they act out certain things. So in African culture, they did the same thing. They would act out wars that the community may have had in the past and how they won the wars, explaining to the people in the community the techniques, the strategies that they did in order to win the war, or passing down who may have been king and who did what, or any other type of historical events, where they may have come from and where they how they ended up in a particular place, passing down certain traditions and culture by reacting out, through the performance arts. They also told history and so forth by singing, through facial expressions, through acting, certain movements and techniques that they use. They also utilize to tell story about the community, or even tell myths, or how certain things that they don't do, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why they don't do certain things because of a particular myth. And you know what? We study different myths, and you look in the culture, you will see why they don't eat certain types of things, or they don't attack certain things, or they don't do certain things on a certain type of day, or they don't believe in this and they don't believe in that, because it's surrounded around one of their mythological stories. But sometimes masks and costumes used to enhance the performance. You see that a lot in their masquerades. A storyteller performs epics and can be hours or even days long that relates history, genealogical battles, and political uprisings of the community, as I explained a while ago. There are riddles, proverbs, and myths to educate the entertainment. And a lot of times when we think about proverbs, we think of the culture, we think of the Akan people in Ghana. You know, they use a lot of different proverbs. They're not the only culture that use African, a lot of ethnic groups use proverbs and et cetera, and et cetera. But just coming to mind when I think about proverbs a lot, I think about the Akan people in Ghana. And we know, we'll get into explaining the proverbs well. And again, proverbs also has to do with the first category of oral tradition. And again, oral tradition is broken into three different categories: broken into literature, historically, and erotics. Um, these riddle proverbs and myths to educate and entertain. Storytellers is an important shared event with people sitting together, listening to, even participating in accounts of the past deeds, beliefs, taboos, and myths. And it is a bit of a camaraderie, or it brings people together, and fellowship also when people sit down and listen to who is assimilating information about certain things about the culture, about their traditions, um, about their myths, about their genealogically, about the history, about political um, uprisings, and so forth. Traditional African orators is a productive power of the nomo, the word, and we talked about the nomo with the Dogon. Basically they're saying there's power in words. Words can bring things to life. Word can bring things into in existence. The African poet commands things by using words according to traditional African philosophy. Not are these magical poets used to the descriptions of royalty, but other consults them as well. For example, the goldsmith often call on the poet um, to work their word magic for the creation of their art. And again, they believe that word bring things into existence. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on as we go a little further in the presentation when we talk about words, or we talk about prayers. Prayers is also another category into oral history. All right. There are oral skills of poets, African, and we're still on the first category, which is literature. Literature is broken into poetic gestures, divination poems, songs. It also includes proverbs, parables, and incantations. Hold on. I'm trying to make sure, all right. The oral skills of the poet. African recognize their orators and its performance. One cannot have one without the other. And again, performance and poetry, or the skills of the poetry, goes together. A function part of the society. The purpose of orators is not merely to entertain or appeal to the emotions of physical sense, but to enlighten and steer the audience into some productive actions of initiatives and faculty spiritual actions. African orator does not departmentalize literature into poetry, prose, or drama, but just language used by the speakers or poets. Examples of the use of language rooted in the indigenous African culture and copies. This is important because it is demonstrated that there is no line drawn between a speech act, and a performance in African communities. There are one and the same. To speak is to perform. Traditional African literature or African orators exist alongside or with African languages. So speaking and performance is one and the same. Oral history is a form of West African oral tradition. It is the recording, preservation, and interpretation of the historical information. Oral history is a form of West African oral traditions. It is the recording, preservation, and interpretation of historical information based on the storytelling, personal experiences, and opinions. It often takes the form of eyewitness accounts about past events, but can include folklore, myth, songs, and stories passed down from the years by words of mouth. So again, it is oral history, is eyewitness accounts of past events, and it also can include folklore, myths, songs, stories, which is also one of the categories of of oral history. And again, I just have a picture here. You can see here, this brother is a griot, and you can see the children around. Now he is educating the children. He may be educating them through uh, myths, and myths also do have a certain type of reality around it, folklores. He may be exhibiting some type of history from the community through song. And again, speech and performance is one and the same. Again, speech and performance is one and the same. All right. West African fables and folk tales. And again, we're in literature. We're in the first category. See it in the first category, which is literature. And it exists again a poet, poetic gestures, divination, poems, and songs. Also proverbs, parables, and incantations. West African fables and folk tales are full of wisdom, generally convey morals and teaching lessons. Often these lessons are won in the resourceful, independence, and illustrated the rewards of courage. There are different types of folk tales with fables and talking beast stories among most common. I'll read that again. Fables and folk tales are full of wisdom and generally conveys a moral and teach a lesson. Often these lessons are won in a resourceful independence and illustrated the rewards of courage. There are different types of folk tales and fables and talking beast stories among most common. Most if you study African folk tales and folk of fables, um most of their folk tales and fables are of talking beasts, and me and Shawn, we talk about this a lot on Mossi Warrior Clan channel. We also put out some information on the Mossi Warrior Clan like page, about the folk tales uh and the fables, and a lot of them deal with talking beasts. One popular that pops off right off the head that may pops off to people is the Anansi story, the Anansi spider. And that's just one of many, but I'm just saying that's one that may pops out real quick when we talk about a fable or folk tale in Africa. The Anansi spider. But there are many folk tales, and I don't know if I did something. I'm quite sure I have did something here on Kofi Piesie TV or on Mossi Warrior Clan channel, and I think I went into some of if I hadn't, I know I talked about them in previous presentations where I might have presented on a particular ethnic group in East, West, South, or North Africa. But and excuse me, we're not in literature, we're actually in historically, the second category, historically. And historically is based on the narratives of myth, legends, and historical plays and ethics. So we're in the second category. And again, the second category is historically, and it's about narratives, myths, legends, historical plays, so forth. Why the leopard can only catch prey on the left side. And before I read this real quick, and again, when we go back to the West African fables and folk tales, it says that it is full of wisdom and generally conveys a moral or teaching a lesson. And if you study a lot of those folk tales and folklores, they always have morals, and it also has a lesson to learn in these folk tales. And I'll read this now and see what type of lesson or what you may have get from this particular folk tale. I'll leave it up to the people in the chat to answer, or I'll leave it up to the people on the panel. I'll get your things. But again, um, it's always full of some type of wisdom that is conveyed of morals, and it also teaches a lesson. So why did the name of this folk tale is why did the leopard, West African folk tale, why did the leopard can only catch prey and on the left side? And a leopard is also one of the popular animals in West Africa. You'll see a lot of different tribes or ethnic groups or clans. Totem is a leopard. I won't go into the full detail of why the leopard is is really revered. I'll talk about it. If you get my article, I have a new article. Hopefully, will be dropping next week. secret societies in Africa and their purpose. I want you to understand what the purpose of these um, secret societies are. And but I talk about the leopard because I talk about a particular group, and then I talk about another group shortly, but I don't go in full detail with this other group. But all of that will be in the article. But once upon a time, the leopard did not know. And again, I'm going to read this folk tale. And again, it's always some type of moral lesson. There are always some type of lessons in these folk tales. And again, these folk tales and fables always have talking beasts in them. If you study any type of uh, fable or folk tale, with always some type of talking animal um, in these tales. But I'm going to read this tale real quick, and y'all tell me out there, what is the lesson you get out of this folk tale? All right. Once upon a time, lepers did not know how to catch animals for food. Knowing that the cat was very skillful in this way, lepers one day went to the cat and asked very politely if she would teach him the art. Cat, Cat readily consented. The first thing the leopard had to learn was to hide himself among the bushes by the roadside so that he would not be seen by an animal passing by. Next, he had to learn how to move silently through the woods. He must never allow the animals he was hunting to know that he was following it. The third great principle the cat taught the leopard was how to use his left paw and left side in springing upon his prey. Having taught him these three things, the cat asked the leopard to go and practice them. Well, practice them well. When he had learnt them thoroughly, he could return to her, and she would give him more lessons of hunting. Leopards obeyed. At the first, he was very successful in obtaining all the food he wanted. One day, however, he was unable to catch anything at all. Being very hungry, he wondered what he could have for dinner. Suddenly, he remembered that the cat had quit had a quite large family. He went straight to the home and found her absent. Never thinking of her kindness to him, the leopard only remembered that he was hungry, and he ate all the kittens. When the cat discovered this dreadful act, she was so angry that she refused to have anything more to do with the great creature. Consequently, the leopard has never been able to learn how to catch animals that passed him on the right side. So people in the chat, even my brothers on the panel, what y'all get, what kind of lesson y'all may have get from out of this story? The cat, the leopard, he's hungry, so he's trying to learn how to hunt for his own survival. So the cat teaches, so he went to the cat. You know, the cat was very skillful in hunting. So the cat taught the leopard how to hunt on the left side. So he taught him three different strategies. The first strategy he taught him was how to hide themselves amongst the bushes on the roadside. The second, excuse me, was how to move silently through the woods. And the third was he taught him how to use his left paw on the left side and how to spring out from the left side to catch the animal or the prey. And throughout him doing that, he taught him these three methods, right? And these three methods worked for him for a little while till he wasn't able to catch anything for and so he realized he became hungry. So he realized, okay, well, let me go to the cat. The cat can teach me some other strategies, maybe on the right side or whatever the case may be. But then when he goes to the cat home, he's hungry. He eats the cat's family. So what and the cat, once the cat finds out, the cat don't want anything else to do with the leopard. So now the leopard is basically ASZZ out. He's asked out. He's asked out. He's you know, the cat won't teach him anything else on how to go out and hunt, or you know, for his own survival. So what y'all may get out of this story? What's a lesson that y'all get from out of this West African folk tale about why the leopard can only catch the prey on the left side? Y'all on the, you know, one of y'all can answer on the panel, or anybody in the chat. I particularly targeted toward the chat. I know it's a delay, but I mean, y'all can answer on the panel, and if anybody else, you know, they may see it a little bit different than the way y'all may see it. You know, they may see the lesson a little bit different.
Well, from the leopard's perspective, I would say you should be conscious and thoughtful of people trying to help you. From the from the cat's perspective, I would say be careful about teaching your secrets to somebody or someone who could be a potential predator in the long run.
Yeah. Anybody? You got something, boss? I'm trying to look on the out here. Peace to everybody in the chat. We say
Yeah, I'm still kind of going back and forth on what side I'm analyzing from. From the cat's angle, it's easy to mark someone's character. You train them all the ways to know them, you know. So when the cats came up missing, you know who did it because all the strategy, you know what things to look for. You get where I'm going. You got a suspect in mind just based off the evidence around you.
Mm-hmm.
From the leopard side, you're not being taught how to hunt on both sides. You're being withheld. You get where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So it creates that animal instinct in you. So I'm trying to see where they're going with it and what side I'm supposed to analyze it from. You know, from it saying at the end, it was never able to learn how to hunt with his right side. It hindered itself from learning a new lesson.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's marked as well. For example, you know, the person who steals something one time, just one time as a kid, is marked a thief for the rest of their life, even though, you know, it's an honest person. And it, you know, it could just be being trained the wrong lesson at the wrong time, or the right lesson at the wrong time, type of ordeal. I don't want to get too wrong with it
Yeah.
up there.
Everything is everything said. This lesson should have made our ancestors be very weary of the European. Yep. Yep. Because we talked to them and it came back to bite us in the ass. Yeah, you're right. It should have. It should have dawned on us. Yeah, I like that. And you correct too. Bebo Peace. He said it's a story. Yeah, it is a story about character. He says Leopard started out humble, and then he gets started out humble, and that's how a lot of us be. We start out humble. Once we learn something, man, you know, we goes our head, man, and we get greedy. Casper willing to be helpful, and the leopard took advantage of their kindness. Yep. A lot of people do that. Yep. All right, we'll move on. And it's just the leopard catching the prey on his left side. The image. Okay. African proverbs can convey wisdom, truth, and discourage of ideals as well as life lessons. So proverbs convey wisdom, truth, and discovery of ideals as well as life lessons. Okay, proverbs. Proverbs are illustrated in a vivid fundamental truth. It takes a, so these are some of the proverbs right here. These are some of the proverbs. It takes a village to raise a child. You know, this is a very popular proverb here. It takes a village to raise a child. Right here, and that's true. When a king has good counselor, his reign is peaceful. No matter how long the night, the day is sure to come. One falsehood spoils 1,000 truth. That's a fact. Do not call the forest the shelter, you a jungle. When you follow in the path of your fathers, you learn to walk like him. It is the best, it is best to bind up the finger before it is cut. The fool speaks, the wise man listens. Do not say the first thing that comes to your mind. I have to learn how to control myself when it comes to that because I'm a very straightforward person. First thing pop in my mind most of the times is I'm letting it rip. A little rain each day will fill the river to overflowing. Cross the river in a crowd and the crocodile won't eat you. Do not know is bad. Not to wish to know is worse. Do not follow the path. Go where there is no path to begin a trail. All of these things have a specific uh, meaning behind it, some type of wisdom behind these proverbs. Here is another proverb. One of the proverbs that I like the most is and uh, is African proverb. It's and it's we when you pray, move your feet. And I'm starting off with this prayer. I mean, starting out with this proverb here and talking. I could elaborate on those other ones, but I just gave you a list of some of those proverbs. But this is one of my favorite proverbs, and I'll kind of talk about this proverb a little bit when it's talking about prayer. And prayer is one of the third categories in oral history. We'll go back over those categories in a minute and go through the details of those categories again. You know, we have literature, historical is the second category, and we have erotic is the third character. The third category, which encompasses secret formulas, prayers, and the corpus of esoteric natures. But when you pray, move your feet, and somebody may get something different from that when you see this proverb. But just for me, when you pray, move your feet. So for me, it involves your thoughts, intentions of energy. Ultimately, it is your communication and connection to what you believe in. I do not believe in a God or a force or energy that exists outside myself. Therefore, it is inner. You're communicating with self. So, from my perspective, when you are praying, you are praying to yourself. Again, I don't believe in a being that's floating in space. I don't believe in something, a being or a force or universal energy that exists outside of myself. That force or that energy is inaided in me. It is inside of me. So therefore, I'm not communicating with something outside of myself. I am communicating with something inside of myself. I am communicating with myself. So I am praying about certain things. I may be praying about getting a good job. And that's just one example. I give you some other examples. I'm praying, okay, about getting a certain type of job so I'm able to provide better. You know what I'm saying? So not only am I talking to myself or communicating to myself about this particular job that I'm searching or trying to get, but once I communicate with myself about this is the job that I want to get, therefore, I began to move my feet. What I mean by moving my feet, I started to put what I'm talking to myself, or the prayers or the communication to myself. I started to try to put those things into action. Again, it goes back to Nomo. Again, when we talk about the power of words, bringing words are power. Words bring things into life. Words bring things into existence. So now I'm speaking these words about getting this job. I'm going to get this job. So now I'm taking those steps. So now I'm moving my feet in order to get those jobs. So I do the necessary steps to get it in job. If it's certain requirement, I go to school and get that certain type of requirement. You know what I'm saying? That paper, certificate, diploma, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? That I meet the suitable proficiencies in this particular area. Then the next step is to go and seek and try to find. So now I'm online because most of these things now you have to look online for. So now I'm on my computer searching for a particular job that now that I have made suitable proficiencies in that I'm trying to get, that's gonna help me to provide a better living for myself and my family. So now I'm searching for this particular job. And once I find these particular jobs, now I begin to put in the app or application for the job. So this is what it comes to mind with to me when it says, when you pray, you move your feet. So that's how I look at it when I look at this certain proverb. And we're going to get into prayer because prayer is also a part of, yes, African people do pray. And it's also the third category of oral tradition. And again, for me, it's not praying to something outside of myself because I don't believe, again, in a God outside of myself or a force of energy outside of myself that has his hands in human affairs. This is something that comes from Western mindset or Western institutions that we come from, i.e., a church, a synagogue, or a mosque. Um, that force is innate in us, so we are communicating to ourselves. I mean, y'all may have something different, but that's how I look at it when I look at that proverb. When you pray, you move your feet. You know, y'all may look at it a little bit different. What, you know, I mean, if y'all want to talk about it real quick before I move on, you know, we can.
You made it make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about Watson.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you on that. I also like it on the aspect of you could do the wordplay with it and replace the A and the E when you pray, move your feet. You know, you hunting. You get where I'm going. You hunting for what you need. Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you wanting to catch that kill. You wanting to be able to provide for your family or whatever it is. You know, your desire. Even if it's an obligation, not necessarily a desire. You know, you may be doing it from an unselfish point of being. When you pray, move your feet. Don't just sit there, you know, or move your feet wisely, I should say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Prayer is the commonest form of worship among traditional African people. And again, prayer is a part of the oral tradition. Again, the categories, and I'm just keep trying to reiterate these things, the categories of literature, historically, and erotics. And erotics, the categories are broken into formulas, prayers, and corpus of historic natures. And again, when, you know, and that's why I laid up to that, they went through some proverbs, which proverbs is a part of the first category, which is literature. Proverbs, incantations, storytelling, and etc. But again, you know, looking at, and even when you study certain traditions, it's about communicating with yourself. And they believe that words have power. Words can bring things into existence. So when you're praying, you're actually communicating to yourself these words about what you want to do, how far you want to go, or et cetera, et cetera. And it's about taking those things, those words, and bringing those words into existence by acting on them. Prayer is the commonest form of worship among traditional African people. The prayers are usually short, expeditious, and succinct, if I'm saying that right, and may be accompanied by sacrifice and offerings. They're mostly requests to satisfy a particular need or to give thanks. Invocation are called for God interventions into a particular matter, blessings or good wishings. Excuse me. Uh, all right. This here is a African prayer. This is what they call the Lenti for peace. This is from the Kikuyu people uh, in Kenya. And I done talked about the Kikuyu people quite a few times. um, they we know now they have become very Christianized, um, and we know that is through the heavy involvement of the missionaries uh, in Kenya. But this is praise ye Igaji, peace be upon us. And again, this is just a prayer of peace. Say that the elders may have wisdom and speak with one voice. Peace be with us. Say that the country may have tranquility. Peace be with us, and the people may continue to increase. Peace be with us. Say that the people and the flock and the herds may prosper and be free from illness. Peace be with us. Say that the fields may hear much fruit and the land may continue to be fertile. Peace be with us. May peace reign over earth. May the gourd cup agree with the vessels. Peace be with us. May their heads agree and every ill word be driven out into the wilderness, into the virgin forest. Praise ye in Ngaji. Peace be with us. So this just is a quick prayer of the Kikuyu people about peace. And again, prayer is also in an African society is regarded as a central point in the most reverent customs in the society. It forms of the community bonds because it brings people together as a family and the community of one society. When we discuss the African oral traditions, we speak of artistic verbal expressions and its performance in the form of poems, songs, proverbs, myths, legends, incantations, sermonizing, lectures, testifying, signifying, and other modes based on complex worldviews designed to elevate and transform societies in Africa and in the diaspora, past and present. The spoken words dominate communication cultures. This is a part of the continuous with the ancient African past. So again, African uh, oral traditions are broken into three different categories: literature, um, historically, and erotics. And through these, you have songs, poems, proverbs, which will be a part of the oral tradition, which will be the literature part. Then you will have the myths, the legends, the narrations, the folk tales, the folklores, which will be a part of the historical category. And then prayer will be a part of the erotic category, a part of the category of the oral tradition. So they are conveying information not only by sitting amongst each other and telling uh, um, the history of the culture or the political uprise of the cultures or the battles that they may have won in the past, or how they migrated and ended up into another place, or how they was able to keep their traditions and their cultures attached um, through different ways, not only by sitting and telling it, by performing. They have different, again, they perform and they was able to exhibit, again, speaking and acting, or speaking and performance are one and the same. So they told stories by hand gestures, facial expressions, doing performance arts, singing, praising through proverbs and so forth. So they learn different types of moral lessons. Um, they learn different types of ethnical lessons. They learn about history, where they come from, how they originated, how these societies was created. They learn about their customs that has been continued to been passed, that genealogical uh, um, um, genealogical aspect of the culture and etc. through oral tradition. So oral tradition. So I just wanted to display and show that oral traditions are broke down in these three different categories and explain these three different categories and how they use oral traditions in these three different categories. I hope the presentation, that's the end of the presentation. I hope the presentation was informative. I hope someone learned something from the presentation or took something from the presentation. I hope someone can go back and share what they have learned. Also, again, those who follow me know that my statement is, as I learn, we all learn. And as I continue to learn and grow, I continue to share what I learn and hope that what I learn can affect someone or, open someone's eyes or, just teach them something that they didn't know on yesterday. Anybody in the chat got anything? Here are my references here. I always say Igungun Kiki Gungun. I always say Majuba Ibe Igungun, and I'm always wants to give honor and respects to our ancestors. And I want to give honors and respect to John S. and Beatty. John S. and Beatty is an ancestor now, and you can see one of the references here, African religion and philosophy. I use John S. and Beatty work a lot. Um, I use Encyclopedia African Religion is another source I use quite a bit as well. But those two are particular. But I wanted to give honors and respect to John S. And John S. and Beatty. He's also one of my favorite authors, and he is now an ancestor. But these are the few references that I use for my presentation on oral tradition, Africa oral tradition. Somebody had somebody open their mic.
Yeah. Great show, for starters. Your presentations. You holding out on whatever you upgraded to start making these slides. I like these formats you've been using recently. But I put an article in the YouTube chat. Can somebody open that? If y'all don't mind, I won't take too long with it. I just want to show y'all something.
Oh, CK, you got that you say you got the book in the MBK Discord? The African Religion and Philosophy by John S. and Beatty. If you do, man, y'all need to grab that book, man. Y'all need to grab all the works by that ancestor. But go ahead.
I've been meaning to get on that Discord too. And my bad, boss. Go ahead.
I didn't even know there was a PDF of it. Of that African religions and philosophy.
Yeah,
I got a hard copy.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. But yeah, if y'all want to go through it, there's a link I put in the YouTube chat, a Royal Society one. If y'all can open that, somebody, because I'm on my phone, I won't be able to do it. I want to show y'all a couple of things.
I had to stop sharing, but I'm not, hold on. And I don't know if I go on YouTube, I don't know if it's going to start cutting me out. Okay. My internet. Hold on, I'll go on it. I'll see. Let me go on it. It may not cut out too bad. I got AT&T, man, and AT&T, man. I be trying not to have a lot of windows open up. Y'all hold on one second. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up.
You gotta put crystals. You gotta hang crystals outside in the trees, and it increase the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's gonna increase the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because you live in the country, you gotta have crystals.
Yeah, because I'm out here in the woods.
I would tell you to play with copper, but I don't advise people go outside playing with copper and electricity.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna tell people to do that one.
Yeah, CK said it. She got it in there. Yes, I didn't know it was on Peter. Y'all need to get that book. If check out that book. Hold on one second. I went to you. Okay, let me go in here. And you said I might have stroll all the way up for a minute.
Yeah, it's that Royal Society one.
Okay. Am I still sharing my screen? What y'all see on my screen? I may have to stop and then go back and share.
I see your reference
Hold on. Let me.
screen.
Yeah, your
You said
reference
you still.
screen still up.
All right, y'all bear with me just one second. Let me pull up this article. Then I'll go back. I'll stop and then reshare my screen. You said I'm gonna go up quite a bit, Vossa.
Yeah,
Okay, I see it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Let me
and this is just to stay with the oral traditions. I wasn't prepared for this, but when you was talking, it came to mind, so I threw it out. I forgot
okay.
what in particular things uh, influenced me to think of it, but I just want to kind of show the audience something with it. You
Yeah.
know, kind of expand the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know where Shawn and he over there arguing about Jesus Christ over over there.
Okay, this is the, as y'all can see, I see it. I don't know if it's showing on the YouTube yet, so I'll wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm trying to see now.
But if you got it,
All
read
right. Hold on. Let me see if I can I can't, it won't let me stroke. Hold on. Will it let me see.
when you get to it. Just read the first sentence of the first paragraph in the abstract,
Okay,
the
I can
very
see
first
it.
sentence, and you'll see where I'm
Uh
going with it.
the Pelican a
Palinki,
black community. Who?
Palinki, Palinki.
The okay, the Palenque, a black community in rural Colombia, have an oral history of fugitive African slaves found a free village near Cartagena in the 17th century. Recently, linguists have identified some 200 words in regular use that originated in the Kikongo language, with the Yambi mainly spoken in the Congo region being the most likely source. The non-recombinating portions of the Y chromosome, NRY, and the mitochondrial DNA were analyzed to establish whether there was greater similarities between present-day members of the Palinke and the Yambe that's between the Palinke and the 42 other African groups. For all individuals, N equals 27.99 for which four slaves might have been taken. You want me to keep reading?
No, you don't have to. But if you go down a little bit more to where you see the numbers, you'll see 1, 2, and 3, and a 4.
Yeah, introduction.
Yeah, go down to
Yeah,
where it says 4 and read that 4. Or I'll read it,
okay.
but you'll see where
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, you can read it.
Uh,
Hold on, let me go to material methods, DNA typing.
you gotta go up. You went too far. It's still at the
You said
beginning.
number four, then I was on number
Um,
two.
no. Just go up, and you'll see like when you first see that red 4, you'll see a red 4, like right in the
Oh,
introduction
okay.
area.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
But just to show y'all and to keep it in the aspect of the oral traditions, it says the oral history is one of the descent from a group of one of the descent from a group of male slaves who escaped captivity in the 17th century from nearby Cartagena, the major century of the Latin America slave trade. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
bringing this up to say, as Kofi does this and we put things together, here's an article that you can show your kids and y'all can try to have, a project for them to do. They can put together oral histories, the DNA, trying to put together the connection of where we descend from, the culture. You get to examine through them untouched culture because they've been isolated, and it's right here in the Western Hemisphere. And it goes on and on and on. But you know, just to right off the bat, you know, and just imagine if we did examine what their story is, and knowing how to do this. And this is the area that I was showing you. I haven't showed it to the audience, not everybody yet. But that area, you know, they got places called Africa. They got places called Europe. So how long have they been there? And, you know, is this what's leading into other conversations? I don't want to break into. But, you know, here's an article for you guys. You can look it over and see how important this stuff really, really is. I don't want to give away everything, Kofi, because you know I'm still working on the project.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be a good one too. That's gonna be a good one.
But you know, to tie in how important oral history is, to prove that, you know, what did it say? This started in the 17th century, so that's the 1600s. So for 400 years, these people have been isolated with a story that they are able to prove bits and pieces of. And they're not even from the region. So just think how sophisticated these methods really have to be in passing on this information from generation to generation. You know, so I'm bringing that up, you know, because I don't think, you know, just right off the bat, they could have had something like that into play, is what I'm saying. So it allows us to examine these things even more.
Yeah, I see.
And we can expand, you know, for all the people in the audience who may be interested in learning, or maybe you want to put something out yourself, but you don't know where to start. You know, these are the little things we do, and the more you do it, you can just add to it. We need y'all's help just as much. But that was just me trying to contribute to today. I love you.
Oh guys. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, because I see where you're going. You know, they took their oral tradition with them. You know, you can see it through the language over there. You know,
and what's fascinating is they're saying, no, we are here because runaways found this area.
Right.
They sticking to that, you know. So, and just think to be holding that down for what we say 300 to 400 years, right? When we have arguments about technology, you have to go back 300 years ago and then compare the technology then and see that these people were sophisticated. You're just as sophisticated as anybody else on this planet because you was able to maintain that chunk of land. So when they say, where did we fight? We always lose, or we technically inferior, and all these other things. You got plenty of stories right here underneath your feet, just waiting for you to expose to the world. So
yeah. I was sitting there laughing at what's the name a while ago. Piece M Hotep, bro. He said, just because your air conditioning is backwards doesn't mean you chilling outside. Oh, that's a good one too, man. That's his proverb. Yeah, man. But again, man, let me start sharing. Hope you know, everybody appreciated the presentation, man. My intention was to do it to yesterday, but I was exhausted yesterday, so
okay,
I didn't
Kofi,
get a chance
how
to.
do
Oh, hold
people?
on. How
Okay.
long? Let me get your child in here. I don't know how long you've been waiting. Um, let me see. You in here, T'Challa? Yeah, I see him. I don't know how long you have been waiting or whatever, man. But T'Challa.
Oh, peace, brother.
Yeah, peace. How long you been waiting?
I just popped in at the end.
Okay. Yeah. Peace. But you got anything? I don't know if you did you see the presentation, T'Challa, or you just caught the tail
No, I
end?
missed it. I was out.
Okay. All right. But yeah, like I said, my intention was to do it yesterday, but didn't get a chance. I was exhausted, man. And I wanted to add some more stuff to what I had, but um, you know, I didn't get a chance to do that neither because I was in and out all day yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to add more stuff. But I hope y'all, appreciate it. The slides I got, the 30, I don't know, it was 26, 27 slides that I had. Like I said, I wasn't gonna try to keep y'all too long. Um, appreciate y'all and be looking forward. Hopefully next week, um, I'll be coming and doing. I know I was supposed to did it 2 weeks ago, but I've been trying to hold it. The West African secret society called the Poro Society. I think that's the name of it. So I'll be doing that next week on Mossi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. Hopefully we can come back to next week. And I wanted to try to do something far as um letting introducing these brothers and letting y'all know what these brothers got to offer when we talk about Kofi Piesie TV family and family affiliates. You hear me say that a lot. And Kofi Piesie TV is not just my channel. It's T'Challa, Bangara, Sutek, Vasa, Nicolo Gullah, Herit, Shawn, Khalfani, um, myself, and Satipara Mariam. All those brothers have some presentations on Kofi TV. So go check out those presentations and archives. I guarantee they will not let you down. But I kind of want to come back and do something introducing Kofi TV family and affiliates, and everybody's on the panel, and everybody explaining, their specialty. Everybody in the group, the families and affiliates, co-pilot TV family and affiliates, have a particular skill set, and these are the skill sets that I liked it, and I wanted to try to bring these brothers together and to present some information, and let the let those see how talented these brothers are and how good they are in the lane that they're in. All of them have their own different lane, their own speciality, a special technique. So hopefully I can try to get them all back next week and maybe have T'Challa, Sutek, Vasa, Satep and Ra, and Shawn all on the panel, and they can kind of go through and explain their background, where they come from, what they are able to, what they bring to the table, and what they maybe have uh coming up, in the future. Sutek, you had your mic unmuted.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'll be dope. That sound like what, like a group type of presentation or something?
Yeah. Everybody just, but it ain't have to be like a presentation if you don't want to. It's just like me introducing y'all, even though people know who y'all are, but they may not know a little bit more about, you can, tell them a little bit more about you and what
Oh,
lane you
okay,
in. Like
yeah.
everybody kind of got their, like T'Challa got like his own lane, and you can look and see, and he got a way he present his information, and he got like his own lane, and way you present, how you present your stuff, and then you kind of got your own lane too, especially when it comes to the Arabic sources and research and so forth on that end. um Vasa got his own lane. He kind of like hitched his own lane now, which we really need. We need more of the direction that he's going in. So
Yeah, we
and
do.
you see that in the article that he written. So you kind of see that's just a touch on it. Shawn got his own, Shawn got his own lane. I kind of got my own lane. I got my own lane. I don't know, I'm gonna stay in my own lane. You ain't gonna see me go outside of my lane talking about no other different subject matters. Even if I know something, then I'm still not gonna go and talk like I'm qualified to talk about these things when I know that's not my lane. So um Satep Ra, he got his lane, and he kind of hitched out another lane for himself too. Um, and I don't want to just kind of talk about it now on this, because I mean everybody can kind of talk about it and kind of bring people up to speed. And even with future things, whether they got books articles, or new presentation coming out, or some type of event that's coming in their town, or something that they may be putting together soon, or possibly trying to put together, or whatever the case may be, man. So let's try to make that happen next week too. So and that article, like I said, the article that I'll be putting out. If you hadn't checked out the other article, please go to Kofi Piesie. Not Kofi. Yeah, what is Kofi Piesie written compositions on .wordpress.net to check out the articles that I have, especially the recent one I put out. It's been I think a month now. Um, Confusion, misunderstanding, and ignorance about African traditions and how it's under attack by Western society and our unstudied. It's a pretty lengthy article, and it's another article that this next article I'll be putting out next week is pretty lengthy too. But it's called Secret Societies in Africa and Their Purposes. I want to explain the purpose of these secret societies, and that the purpose of these secret societies, a lot of Europeans, or a lot of information that was taught to us in school about Africa, they said that we didn't have these particular, or this particular thing. And this is why most of the secret societies, and I'm saying most because I'm gonna touch on several secret societies, and I'm gonna go deep into the secret society. So it's kind of lengthy because I kind of want you to understand, and I want you to understand the point I'm trying to drive home, that we did have this particular thing that the Europeans say that we didn't, that Africa didn't have, and this was the purpose of a lot of these secret societies. And even Vasa threw something out a while ago, when we was talking behind the scenes, is your family is your family, or is the family a secret society? And when he threw that out, I said yes. And you'll understand why I said yes and why he threw out, because I think he kind of already know where I'm going
Yeah, but
when
stop where you
I'm
at.
with the article.
Are vows or oral tradition in the
Yeah,
family?
Val.
Is this something that we can, so the family have something to walk away with?
Yeah.
Is that part
Yeah,
of oral
Val.
traditions? Can you
Yeah.
argue that? So when we're
Yeah.
looking for these things and we're trying to find ourselves in it, we can start right there at our fingertips.
Yeah.
If you get where I'm going. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
cut your bill, but
Oh no, you good, man. So be on the lookout for that article. Appreciate everybody else that read the article I put out last month, or read the other articles that I have put out on Kofi Piesie. And every video from now on, I have every YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Mossi Word YouTube channel, Seshew YouTube channel. I have my my blog site, Shawn blog site, Ben's website, where we have articles on there, as well as Ben articles, as well as presentations that Ben have done, and etc. I also have Sutek. Sutek has his own YouTube channel, Niger Valley Civilization YouTube channel. Go check out that YouTube channel. I'm finna start, if it's not a problem, I'm finna start trying to help push his YouTube channel as well, and kind of help him some too, if I'm allowed to, with his channel as well, because we want to get his channel out there as well. And yeah, and anything that T'Challa that may have, I know T'Challa be doing like a lot of things. I'm gonna try to see if I can put some of the things that he have, promote some of the things he have for us, people that may be in his area and they may be interested in. Now, you still doing the things with the drum? You still doing the drumming classes and stuff, ain't you, T'Challa?
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm versed in the traditions of the Malinke people in the what we call the Malian Empire. Dealing with Sunjata Keita and that time period in terms of the music and where the music is from. why we play the music, why we play those instruments. Same instruments that was brought over here that would lead us into blues, jazz, rock and roll, excuse me, and things like that. It's where we get the music from in our country. And, you know, we did that presentation on African drums, a couple parts to that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm out here in the community teaching and, you know, when I can do my classes and whatnot and just try to push scientific literacy and promote African culture globally, as we all do. So I'll be ready next week.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So y'all got it. We'll be coming back next week. Kofi Piesie TV families. Well, who is Kofi Piesie family? Kofi, who is Kofi Piesie TV families and affiliates? So we'll have the whole team on here, and the whole team can run down, you know, on their thing on here, so y'all kind of can see who these brothers are, and who these brothers, what you know, what are their skill sets, and what do they bring to the table? Because all these brothers are brilliant to me, man. And I don't surround myself but around assets, not liabilities, assets. Those people that can inspire me, uplift me, motivate me to go harder at the things that I'm doing, man. Bossy, you got some?
Yeah. Shouts out to CK for a Discord thing. Like that thing is phenomenal. It blew my mind. I wasn't
Man.
expecting that. But if y'all haven't jumped in there, she's done a lot of work to compile a lot of information for people, and it's free. So if you haven't joined it, jump on there because there's a lot of information in there, and it's something for everybody. She's got a category for everything from just coming in to the gossip talk to actually researching. She's got you covered. So, and T'Challa, you would be
Yeah.
an excellent asset to that for the music department.
The Discord. So CK, you if you still in the chat, I know, I forgot how she said it's you now you can't send a link and invite anybody now. It's certain way now in order to get on the Discord. Sister CK, how if anybody wanted to join the Discord now, what would they have to do in order to join the Discord? Because I know you took away the option of uh anyone sending a link out for people to join the Discord. And I understand why you did what you did. And man, that's it is. I hadn't been on there as late, especially this week. I hadn't really been on too much of nothing. Um lately, anything in social media, anything yeah. So she's gonna let y'all know how y'all's able to join the Discord, man. Like I said, she got a lot of man. Every time I go on there, it's something different. She got something different on there, man. I mean that she done build that Discord up like, and I mentioned I gave honor and praises to John and Beats. That's one of my favorite authors. You know, I use his work a lot. Any of his works is good, you know what I'm saying, in my personal opinion. He's an ancestor. He's an ancestor now. But she said she has that. I didn't know it was in a PDF. So she have books on there, you know what I'm saying? Um, classes. She has a book club on the Discord. Um, um, all different kinds of different chats. I mean, she got anybody can get it chat. She got the regular public chat. She got all kind of stuff on there, man. Like I said, man, this it's good, man. Like I said, every time I get on there, she done added something new to the Discord. I think it's a thing on there too where True Story is gonna have a class soon on there on the Discord. So I think it's something on there where NBK can go live from that, man. It's so many different things. When she talk about, I ain't too familiar with the bots. She done tried to explain the bots to me over the phone a few times, and so it just got it's got a lot of good things, man, to it. So yeah, please join the Discord,
Yeah.
son. join
Yeah,
the
I need to learn
Discord.
how to get the alerts. But I want to throw in one more thing about the Discord, if y'all don't mind. She's got an area in there called the State to State 2020 Challenge for Black History Month. I want to challenge people in the audience to participate in that and put information that you find interesting about your state in there. 'Cause I don't see too many participating in that. That way we can compile this information and maybe next year, come History Month, we have something that we can look at on a national level to present to people from each
Okay.
city or state. But we can't do everything alone. And a lot of this stuff in the journey, you find a lot of the pride and the joy that we find. So, try it. You never know what you might find. You might find family members who changed the world right there in your city or state. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. And I got it, Sister CK. Now, I'll give it to T'Challa because I think T'Challa be a great asset on the Discord as well, man. So yeah, y'all check out that Discord, man, that she had, man. Kofi, that link is sent to you unlimited. You can use it as much as you. Okay, well, Sister CK, I got it. I don't really have a bunch of friends, and so I won't be sending it out to everybody. But I definitely give it to Charla, and if I do in the future give the link to anybody, I'm definitely gonna vet them out first. If I don't know them personally like that before, I just get a link out to anybody to join the Discord. But man, that's it, man. That's all. I got, man. Again, my same spiel. I appreciate y'all, man. I really do. We appreciate y'all, man. Cause y'all could have been doing anything else with y'all time, and I know everybody time is valuable. Cause I know my time is very valuable. I know y'all time is valuable, man. So we appreciate y'all, man, for taking out a little of y'all time, man, just to listen to what we gotta say, man. So appreciate it. I know we's not most entertaining most entertaining, because I know we love to be entertained. I know we, we entertain a little bit. We joke amongst each other, but that other type of entertainment, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But we appreciate y'all, man, because I know y'all be like, man, these guys are boring, man. They ain't talking about nobody mama. They ain't talking about eating nobody kids. They ain't talking about sucking their private parts, man. They ain't keeping up nothing, keeping up no dust, man. You know, over here we gonna rock good character all day, every day, man. So
Did
um
you just take Brother Lynch from me?
yeah,
I can't listen to Brother Lynch no more on Kofi Piesie TV.
yeah. No, brother Lynch, man, that's the dude, man. That's the dude, especially his old stuff, man. That's old stuff, man. I still stop, son, stop. I still listen to his old stuff and some of his previous stuff. He has out now, man. But anyway, appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in, man. Again, like the show, share the show, with those that you think that may be interested. You don't if you feel like ain't nobody gonna get nothing from the show, then don't share it to, don't share it to them. You know what I'm saying? Share it to those that you think that may appreciate the information um from the show. Again, thumbs up the video or thumbs down the video. Either way, it doesn't matter to me, man. If you disagree with the information or didn't like the information, I ain't mad at you neither. Thumbs it down. If you like it, I truly appreciate it. And we truly appreciate it if you shared the information to people that you think that may get something out of the show that we did um on the day. Appreciate the support. If you the first time coming to the channel, please don't leave the channel without subscribing. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell, hit the all button, so when we do go live, you'll be able to see. You'll be able to know that we're finna get ready to go live, or we live now. So be on the lookout next week for the show. Um, uh, uh, who is Kofi Piesie TV families and affiliates. So we'll have Vasa, Sutek, T'Challa, Shawn, and Satepanra all on the panel. So that'll be a powerful show next week. Also be looking for the Porto Secret Society presentation on next week, as well as the secret societies in Africa and their purpose article, which will be on Kofi Piesie TV, written compositions .wordpress.com. And that's it, man. Anybody else got anything? If not, man, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the show again. Peace, appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody.
Man, appreciate y'all for coming. Yeah. Like my brother said, man, y'all could have been anywhere, but y'all was here with us. So I appreciate it, man. We all do.
I guess that's it, man. Then well, shoot, man. I want to say Black African Power, man. I want to say Shemim Hotep. Shemim Hotep just means to depart in peace. And man, we are out of here, man. See y'all next week, man. Peace and thanks for the support. We out.